Do you sense one of your friends, Hootle?
Mahag... Sar. That makes 4 out of the 5 realms that I've visited now.
I wonder what kind of lord we're gonna find there.
It doesn't matter. If they try to get in our way, we'll take them down and that'll be that.
Take this!
Dance in the wind!
It's over!
Surfing Knuckle!
Seal!
Take this! You're finished! Rising sun!
You're done! If they rush you, you gotta jump for cover, okay? None shall escape my judgment!
Do it!
So those are Dahnan Astral Arts.
We're in good form!
Hoo hoo hoo. Hoo. Hoo hoo hoo. Hoo.
Get lost!
Talon Storm!
Nothing gets...
I'll take you all off! Take
None
this!
shall escape my
You're
judgment!
finished!
Lightning orb!
This one keeps charging us!
That's what my shield's for. Get behind me!
Got it! I'll leave it to you! I can carve through Orochi Glimmer!
Astral energy!
Say no more! Got it!
Glacial
Well
Spear.
done! Pierce the evil!
This! Talon
Hurricane!
Hurricane! Take this! Glimmer Dragon! You're mine! Rising...
Water, hear
First
my
strike!
call!
I'll run you through! I'm not done!
Burning strike!
Hold up! Is this as valuable as I think it is?
Seriously? Is this a joke?
Why'd you heal me?
To stop you drowning?
Right.
I owe you one. It's over!
Right, I'll take out the leg with my shield.
Ah!
Tiger Blade!
Here I come! Ah! Rising Falcon! I'm ready!
Dohalim! This one's got your name on it!
Action to action. A merry distraction.
There's still more to go!
Strike!
Flame of
Orochi Fury!
I'll stop its charge!
Thanks, Kitara!
Dohalim!
All yours, Kisara. On your knees.
Searing flame!
Ignite storm!
It's over! Plasma shock!
A freezing storm! Do it!
Ice tornado!
My fists are crushing it out there!
A fish! You saw...
I didn't realize there was a pond here.
Yeah, this is Taka Pond. And it happened to have saved my life once upon a time.
What do you mean?
As a kid, I survived life under the past lords by escaping here when I needed to. It's terrible to swim in, but great for catching a bite for dinner away from Renin eyes.
Bear in mind, our rations back then weren't enough to live off of. You had to take matters into your own hands if you wanted enough food to survive.
But how did you catch them? With your bare hands?
That might take a while. Fish are prone to swim away at the first sign of trouble.
I'd put bait or a lure on a line and use it with a fishing rod.
You must not be familiar with fishing if this sounds new to you. Here, let me show you how it's done.
Hey, what do you think about that spot?
Good idea. I'll go for that one. Ha! Not my lucky day, I guess. I've got something. That was disappointing. All right. Anybody could reel in that.
That went pretty well.
Looks like I lost it. I've got a good feeling about this one. I did it! But I'm not gonna quit now.
Remarkable. You're top of the food chain.
And that's all there is to it.
Wow. It seems like you need to have good reflexes to catch anything. I don't know if it's really for me. Kisara? I think I've seen enough.
Oh, sorry. I guess I'm just in my own little world when I go fishing.
Looks like we're going to be here for a while.
That's how fishing goes. You wait for a bite, and then the real battle begins.
Miguel told me that different fish live in different regions, and you have to pick the right rod and lure for what you're hoping to catch.
But that doesn't change the fact it's a giant time sink.
Of course, each fish has its own unique flavor, too. And some of them are supposed to be extremely delicious.
When you put it like that, maybe it's worth me trying my hand at fishing after all.
You're just in it for the food.
I was hoping we'd get to fish during our travels. And it just so happens I made sure to grab my brother's old rod before I left Vicente. So, if you ever feel like fishing when we've got a little downtime, just let me know.
Good to hear. Thanks for showing us.
Okay!
I'm always amazed what healing arts can do.
Just doing my job. No need to thank me.
Hey. Is it just me, or have those two barely spoken a single word to one another?
I know, right? But after everything that happened with Miguel, is it really any wonder?
Kinda puts a damper on the whole journey though, huh? How long do you think they're gonna keep this up?
If it bothers you that much, why don't you ask them?
Why do I have to ask?
How come you walk together like that?
She really doesn't beat around the bush.
You mean Kisara and myself?
You hadn't noticed? You've been practically joined at the hip ever since we left Vicente.
I guess it's force of habit, most likely. I was always ready to protect him, should the need arise. It sort of came with the job description.
Right. From being in the Elder Menancia Guard. Although, Dohalim's pretty capable of defending himself, isn't he?
Having guards doesn't necessarily mean the one being guarded is weak. No one's perfect all the time.
Even so, it's not like they're entirely wrong, Kisara. You're no longer in my employ, after all.
I don't know. I mean, if it's what she's used to and you're both comfortable with it, then who are we to judge?
But she doesn't serve him anymore. It isn't normal for her to keep following him around like she still does.
You know, she's probably right. And a lot has changed over the last few days. I guess it wouldn't hurt to rethink our relationship in light of the new circumstances. Perhaps I'll give it some thought after all. Does that sound all right by you?
Of course.
You might want to stop asking his permission for every little thing while you're at it.
Sorry. It's not that easy, shaking off old habits. I'll probably need a little time to get fully used to it. I've noticed that sometimes we come across enemies who fight like you, and try to dodge our attacks at the last second.
I hate those guys. I can get some hits in when they move into attack, but otherwise they slip past damn near everything else I throw at them.
If what you're seeking is a way to more reliably hit them, there is a solution.
Try to outclass them on reflexes?
I possess the ability to command Earth elemental beings to some extent. They emerge as the land itself and take root on my command. They will swiftly bind the enemies, at which point you can dispatch them.
Huh?
What he means is that he can make plants grow to hold the enemies in place. At least I think that's probably what he's saying.
I'm glad at least one of us understands him. So basically, if we find an enemy that likes to dodge, we should let Dohalim handle it.
I shall do what I can within my modest means to help.
Why are you looking at me like that?
That armor you wear is standard issue for the Menancian Guard, right?
Originally, I've added some flair to it in a lot of places.
I noticed, especially with that open back.
We guardsmen pride ourselves on never showing our back to our enemies. It's my way of making myself live up to that. Plus, it makes it that much lighter and easier to maintain.
Dohalim, do you have anything to say about this?
Every guardsman is allowed to wear their armor as they see fit.
And you, La?
Huh? Why are you asking me?
This should definitely keep you guys full.
Kisara, let's talk for a bit. Maintaining your shield? It's becoming a familiar sight.
Miguel was the one who taught me how to maintain my equipment after I first joined the Guard. Now, it's just a part of my routine.
Your brother always seems to come up whenever I talk to you.
That's because we had no other relatives, so it was just the two of us growing up. He was my idol, the one I looked up to and wanted to be like. When I became a guardsman, Lagiel wasn't too pleased to see me at first. It was Miguel who really welcomed me aboard.
Lagiel? Oh, right. She was Miguel's second in the Gold Dust Cats, wasn't she?
That's right. She's always been a very critical and down-to-earth person. In other words, the complete opposite of a dreamer like me.
You're more an idealist than some pie-in-the-sky dreamer.
Even so, that's my brother's doing. He'd never let me stop seeing a brighter world. He always did what he could to keep me smiling and happy.
You must have meant a lot to him.
He wasn't just kind, either. He always worked so hard to set an example for me and everyone else around him. He was a true big brother. So much so that when he thought I was asleep, he'd slip out of the house to go training on the outskirts of town.
You seem to know a lot about it.
That's because I only pretended to be asleep and would follow after him. You know what? I'm at a good stopping point with my shield. If you've got time, how about I tell you a couple more Miguel stories?
I guess I'd better get comfortable.
I'll take watch tonight. It's okay. Before we go, do you guys have everything?
you guys checked your equipment lately?
Something feels odd here. Be on your guard.
You other Danans have spirit cores. Why is that?
Both of my parents were part of the resistance in Calaglia. In fact, my birth was kept a secret from the Renans.
Mine too. We always lived in hiding, so I never had a spirit core embedded in me like I was supposed to.
What about you, Alphen? You were a slave in Calaglia before all this, weren't you?
To be completely honest, I'm not sure why I don't have one. All the other Danan slaves around me did. I was the only exception. They tended to keep their distance from me to avoid attracting any attention from the soldiers, because of my mask and all. What about you, Kisara? Do you still have your spirit core?
No. I was able to find a good Renan doctor who's sympathetic to our kind, and had them remove it before I left. They did such a great job, the procedure didn't even leave a scar.
One of the benefits of coexistence, huh?
I know that once the spirit vessel was shut down, there wasn't much need for me to hurry. But still, I didn't like having that mark of servitude lingering on me any longer than I had to. It may sound a little strange to hear me say this, but I'm just me now. Not a guardsman or a slave. I'm my own woman. And this is my chance to have a new beginning.
This sure is one rugged road. You'd think they'd keep this at least a little better maintained, right?
Why spend energy fixing that which is rarely used? Repairs require time and effort, which in our world means slaves, often in great numbers. For you, it may be a simple request, but that can quickly become another's difficult burden. Nobody gains anything without someone expending effort.
And you know, somehow that someone always ends up being a Danan, while the Renans are the ones who gain.
True enough. Ideally, in a perfect world, I think it's only fair that the ones who need it should be the ones to perform the work.
However, when doing so could be dangerous like it is here, there are many who would prefer that it be others who risk their lives in their stead.
So, what you're saying is that people will just put up with the inconvenience until someone else comes along to fix it for them?
Indeed. And it is those who can no longer bear that feeling that inevitably take action. Much like the Danans in our group do so now. As strange as it may be to hear such a thing from the likes of myself.
It's true that most of the Danans in Calaglia have been resigned to just accepting things as they are. Still, we can't just blame them for...
What are you making that face for? You're not worn out already, are you?
Nah, just regretting I ever said anything in the first place.
It'll take more than that to break my shield!
Dependable to the last.
You're finished!
Going in!
One more!
Resonate with the
Lunar blast!
Look sharp!
I'm also good with airborne targets.
Stay calm. I shall provide assistance. Pesky airborne scoundrels.
Sounds like a job for you truly.
Take this! It's over! Elusive deity! You're mine! I'm ready!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
See you continue on in that way.
Yes, my lady?
Something you wanted to say? Lunar blast!
I'm not done!
Make it rain! Redwell! Astral energy! Full throttle!
Resonate with the earth. Still up.
This should make for some good weapon crafting material.
All right.
There's nowhere to run from my heart. When he slows down, that's our chance. Struck! Elusive
It's like trying to keep up with a wolf!
You require
Tiger Blade!
in a bind. Take this! Ha! Rising Falcon!
Tiger Blade!
You require
Laser
it.
Ray!
Can you take
Damn
it?
it! Too fast!
Can't get out, stand back. I'll trip it up.
You're finished!
Raging Luna Storm!
You're mine!
Require a hand.
It's over!
Tiger Blade!
Take this!
Take this!
Lunar Blast!
Orochi!
In a bind?
Mega Ray!
You're mine!
Annihilation!
Hook shot! Take this! Ha!
Elusive Deity! Can you take it?
Orochi Fury! Plasma shot!
Prepare to be sealed!
You're mine! Ha!
Falling Storm!
You're mine!
Back into the fray!
It's over!
Tiger Blade!
Here I
Raging
come!
Luna Storm! No further!
It's over! Ha!
Falling
You're
Storm!
mine!
Do it!
You're finished!
Tiger Blade!
Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Snake of the
Lunar
Abyss!
Blast!
turn.
Water Snake Blade!
Enough done.
Lunar Blast!
Orochi
Tiger
Fury!
Blade!
Do you require a hand?
Water, hear my call!
Here I come!
Tiger Blade!
Can't get out of this!
You're mine! You're finished!
Water, hear my call! Do
Orochi
it! On
Kisara!
steel!
All yours, Kisara!
Got some interesting moves there, Dohalim. I'm glad you're on our side.
I'm simply glad to hear that I can make myself useful to you all. Huh?
What's wrong?
We seem to have come across some rather unusual objects.
What, you mean that pile of garbage?
No mere garbage, I assure you. Still, I've never seen anything shaped like it before. I'm intrigued.
Are you curious about this stuff, Rinwell?
Yeah. I think he might have found some old Danon relics. They look like the remains of a bunch of objects that disappeared after the Renans first invaded.
And yet here I am, holding them without so much as a second thought. I imagine the sight must be unsettling to you.
Not really, just that it must be nice to be a Renan who has time to indulge in stuff like that, unlike the rest of us.
Are you interested in this stuff too, Dohalim?
Charmed may be a better turn of phrase. I simply love objects that can give me a sense of what their maker was thinking, the history that went into their creation. You see, we Renans have hardly any such objects that trace back to our distant past.
I still don't understand what you two find so intriguing about it, though.
Why not? We're talking about our own culture here.
I get that, but it's not like this stuff is any use now, does it? It's just old. Real old.
Oh, but it does. Holding it in your hands like this, one can feel and engage with the distant past in a way no history book can ever accomplish.
I'll take your word for it. Well, seeing as it's Danon history, just make sure you're careful with it. All right, Dohalim?
But of course. There's history in the air here. I can smell it.
I don't smell anything.
Don't encourage him.
Visibility along this path will remain limited for some time. Take care not to get ambushed.
I'm surprised you know the terrain here so well. Lords don't strike me as having much time for wandering in the woods.
Sometimes I would take strolls along here when I wished to be alone.
You always did have a bad habit of disappearing without telling any of us guardsmen. shot!
Not on my watch!
That's it! Take this!
Leave the agile ones to
You're
me.
mine! Here I come! We got flyers!
I've got
Prepare
this!
to be
Let a
sealed.
marksman handle it!
Actually,
All yours!
sound is more appropriate.
Let the enemy's art do it!
No complaints here!
You're finished!
This one's
Begin!
By the power of
Orochi's Fury!
Tiger Blade!
I'll face you. Take this.
Here I come!
Make it right!
Totally! In an instant! Impact Claw! We work well together.
Like a finely timed waltz.
It's over!
This one's
Orochi's Fury!
Art field! Do it! Go for it!
Prepare to crumble!
Snake of the
My
abyss.
turn! This one's all mine! Orochi's Fury!
Aqua Susa can't get out of this.
Tiger Blade!
Raging Lunar Storm.
Flaming Meteor!
Here's evil!
Far enough!
I'll face you. Elusive deity. I'll face
Do
you.
it!
Shield.
This one's got your name on it!
Ashes to ashes.
This should come in handy when crafting weapons.
This one's tough, but we have no choice.
Let me know if you need healing.
Orochi's Fury!
This one's mine! Take this!
Airborne beast. My spell.
You're mine!
Look sharp!
You're finished!
Flying freaks! Why can't they just sit still?
Seal, can you take care of them?
No sooner said than done.
I shall ensure you survive this.
Burning strike! Glacial spear. Fierce evil.
You're mine! Orochi's Fury! Totally! In an instant! Impact Claw! We work well together.
Like a finely timed waltz.
I'm not done! Orochi's Fury! Take this! I'm ready! You're finished!
Astral energy. Full throttle.
My turn!
Going in.
Elusive Deity!
Begin.
Lunar Rumble!
Make it right!
Kisara! Commander of Heaven! Phoenix Cyclone!
Lady Fortune must truly be watching over me.
It's so hilly around here. I can feel my feet getting blisters.
That's mountain hiking.
I won't forgive you.
Take this!
Right here! I got you!
Ignite!
Hear me. It's a duel of the arts. Here, let me help.
You're mine!
No further!
It's over!
The enemy wields art too.
You'll soon see about that.
Negative
Let's
gain!
this one!
All mine!
You're mine!
Flame of fury!
Here I come! Orochi's Fury! I'm ready! It's over!
Go for it!
Prepare to crumble!
Think we overdid it?
Not a chance!
Not by a long
You're
shot!
finished!
I'll take you all on! Ha! Flare to Malisa! Look sharp! One more!
Orochi's Fury!
Tiger Blade!
I need to be stronger.
Brace yourselves! This one's tough! You're finished!
Far enough!
Scion
You're mine!
instant!
It's over!
Here I go.
Orochi's Fury! Plasma Shock!
Look sharp!
You're mine! You're finished!
You want me? Come get me!
Strike!
Spin!
An astral art?
That's my cue. Do it! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
See you continue on in that vein.
Yes, my lady?
Something you wanted to say?
Orochi's Fury!
Look sharp!
Take this!
This one's mine!
You're mine! Ignite!
Mega Ray!
You're mine! I can feel my power growing! No choice! Here I come!
Don't worry, I've got plenty to go around. Tiger
You're
Blade!
mine!
Where are you going?
Orochi's Fury!
This one's mine!
Take it! Let me
Have one big break! First out in your dreams!
I can carve through armor! Resonate with the earth! Stalagmite! On your...
Going in!
It's on!
One
You're
more!
finished! Luna Rogo! Begin!
None shall escape your judgment!
Orochi's Fury!
Leave the ensnaring to me.
Yeah, and the pummeling to me.
It's over!
Tiger denied!
Burn!
On guard!
Here I come!
Take this!
Fairy Circle! Orochi's Fury! Take this! Elusive Deity! Orochi's Fury! Begin! Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno! Kisara! Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone!
Ditto!
Yeah! Nice technique! This one's
Can't
mine!
get out of this! Here I come! It's over! Resonate with the earth! In an instant! Impact Claw!
Good to know my training is paying off.
The design of this equipment is really interesting.
You must really like it, Alphen. More Danon runes here too, I see.
What were people even thinking back then? Trying to build anything around here.
Maybe they just had that much time and energy on their hands.
I'll do my best!
This one's all mine!
Look sharp! That's it!
In the sky is mine!
Piercing roar! Where are you going?
Take this! Make with the earth! Blast the shot!
Mega Ray!
On your line!
Going in!
Going in!
One
Here I
more!
come!
Look sharp! Take this!
Long! Blow them away! Come and face me!
Look sharp!
Now!
One more!
I'm ready! Double me! In an instant! Impact Claw! We work well together.
Like a finely timed blow.
It's over! Rising Falcon!
Do it!
Long! Blow them away!
So I still had room to grow.
I sure have built up a sweat with this hike.
Rest assured, we have reached the top. It's all downhill from here, quite literally.
So Mahag Sar's just up ahead then?
Indeed. If you look, across this mountain is the Lord's Keep.
An opponent like this should be easy.
None shall
You're
escape my
finished!
judgment!
Orochi's Fury! Eat
Going
this!
in!
I'll thank you! Will escape!
Punch it left!
Orochi's Fury!
There!
Begin!
Let the marksman handle this!
No further! It's over!
Falling storm!
Orochi's Fury!
The
official season clear for us!
You wanna play? Come
Take
out!
this! Destruction!
Look sharp!
Here I come!
This
You're
one's
finished!
mine!
Did you just heal me?
Yes, I need you, remember?
Right.
tide of battle has turned in our favor.
Then let's keep pressing the attack.
Indeed, but remain ever vigilant.
It's over! You're mine! It's over!
On guard!
You're mine!
Look sharp!
Do it!
Kisara! All yours, Kisara!
We did it!
Magnificently done.
Now, let loose!
Water, hear my call!
Orochi's Fury!
This one is mine!
Resonate with the earth!
Pierce evil!
On your knees!
Freeze Lancer!
Here I come!
It's
It's over!
Make it rain!
Frozen?
Hammer!
Hey! Poodle's quivering! I think we're about to be real lucky!
Ah, guess I misread the landing.
Let's see what you've got.
This one's mine!
It's over!
Look sharp!
Negative gate! Front!
Look sharp!
On Orochi's Fury!
Falling storm!
Plasma Shock! Here I come!
Going in!
You're finished!
Lunar
Here I come!
Corrective! Spin!
It's over!
Gemini Aqua! Tiger Blade!
Orochi's Fury!
Do it!
Rotating pile
You're mine!
Mega Ray!
It's over!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
See you continue on in that vein.
Yes, my lady?
Something you wanted to
It's
say?
over! Rising Falcon! You're mine!
Look sharp!
I'm ready! Hey! Blow them away!
Nice. No scratches on my shield or my armor.
Retreat if you know what's good for you.
Get behind me!
Not today!
Does it hurt?
I'm not done!
Tiger Blade!
Orochi's Fury!
Down! You're on!
Here I come!
First aid!
Now I
This
can let
one's
loose.
mine! Take this!
I'll thank you.
Plasma Shock!
Annihilation! Tiger Blade!
I'm not done!
Mega Ray!
Orochi's Fury!
Make it rain!
Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno! Not a chance!
This one's mine! One more!
Rising
Tiger Blade!
Hitting pile driver.
Orochi's Fury!
Can't get out of this.
You're finished!
Make it rain!
Kisara! Go for it!
Prepare to crumble!
Think we overdid it?
Not a chance!
Not by a long shot!
The tide of battle has turned in our favor.
Then let's keep pressing the attack!
Indeed, but remain ever vigilant.
Begin! Here I come!
Far enough!
Does it
No
hurt?
escape!
House stick.
Burn!
Elusive deity.
Let me help!
Rotating pile driver.
Okay, here I go!
Make it rain!
Rinwell. Light burst forth.
Radiant Genesis!
We managed to pull through.
Through these lands most verdant green, my eyes alight for sights unseen. In Menancia, pure and pristine.
What is it you see exactly?
That's not for me to say.
Still thinking about how to act around Dohalim?
That obvious, huh? Except I don't think I'll be changing much after all. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to stay his servant. However, I am going to treat him like a fellow comrade, the same way I would with you or anyone else. For as long as I can remember, I've spent my life protecting others. But isn't that what friends do too? Support and protect one another in times of need?
Which in the end pretty much means doing as you've always done, right? If that's what you're most comfortable with, I'm certainly not going to give you any grief over it.
Actually, I've been thinking about how I ought to act around you all as well.
Oh?
When I set out on this journey, it was to rid Eldaman and Sia of its enemies, and search for wisdom in the outside world. Wisdom that I could potentially put to use on my return. I'm grateful to you all for letting me tag along. But it got me thinking, what am I actually contributing by being here?
What are you talking about? You know how to hold a weapon, don't you? That's help enough.
Is it though? Sometimes I wish there was more I could be doing to pull my...
Oops, sorry about that. Jeez, I'm famished.
Now that you mention it, what do you guys normally do for food and meals when you're out and about on your travels?
What do you mean, what do? We find stuff to eat and eat it. So long as it's meat, I'm not fussy.
Eating what you like can be good for morale in the short term, but you need to think about your diet if you want to stay healthy.
Does that mean eating vegetables too?
Isn't that obvious?
It does, which I guess hasn't been happening up till now.
Yeah, to be honest, we could be eating better than we do.
Understood. In that case, I'll just have to make sure you're all staying healthy and eating right myself. Fortunately, I happen to know a thing or two about cooking as well.
You hear that, Law? Sounds like you'll be eating your greens after all.
What is it?
No, sorry, it's just... I was just wondering if you had any thoughts on all this.
It will do her good to have a project.
No, not Kisara. I meant you. Was there anything you wanted to add?
Me? Certainly you're not looking to me for culinary skill, I hope.
Typical Renan, leaving everything to someone else.
Rinwell, I don't think...
That said, should you need my skills on the battlefield, please rest assured I have no intention of shirking my responsibilities, regardless of who we may face.
I'm sure no one doubts that. Listen, guys, if we're traveling together, we should probably at least try to make an effort to get to know one another, don't you think?
I wouldn't get your expectations too high in that regard. Believe it or not, sometimes I'm not sure I even know myself all that well.
Something wrong? You look like you're deep in thought.
Not exactly. I was merely thinking about you two and your sense of etiquette.
Oh?
Etiquette?
Indeed. To be quite frank, I find your lack of manners to be nigh intolerable.
That's not being frank, that's being and forget it. Do we really need to talk about this now?
Yes, I find such impropriety on your parts to be deeply unsettling. It concerns me greatly.
What do you want us to do? We were slaves. We never got to learn how to be proper like you.
Yeah, what he said. Maybe you missed how we were just focused on surviving.
Perhaps, but Kisara here demonstrates that it's quite possible for a Denon to learn proper manners.
That's because I was given the opportunity to learn. Moreover, my duties as a guardsman required it. Not every realm is like Menancia, as you well know.
Yeah, I don't think it's fair to hold us to some other city standards.
Exactly. You've got to remember what it's been like for us living under the Rena elsewhere.
I will concede that you do indeed make a valid point. It would appear, for all my espousing the virtues of equality between our peoples, I was still looking down on the two of you.
You don't need to beat yourself up. I wasn't that offended by what you said, man.
Nevertheless, I shall mind my words from here on out. Having said that, I do believe you two would still benefit from learning the basics of proper society. I would be more than happy to teach you both when we camp out, if you like.
Yeah, no, I'll pass. Acting all prim and proper isn't really my style.
If you say so. How about you, Law? Would you like to learn? Although I suppose my first task is to reform your attitude toward the idea of good etiquette.
You're not gonna let this go, are you?